Conclusion. This book on themes of world history has taken you across vast stretches of time, ancient, medieval, modern. It has focused on some of the more prominent themes of human evolution and development. Each section has covered the following increasingly foreshortened periods: 1. C6 Maya to 400 BCE, 2 BCE 400 to 1300 C, 3 800 to 1700 C, 4 1700 to 2000 CE. Although historians tend to specialize in ancient, medieval, and modern periods, the historians craft display certain common features and predicaments. We have attempted to nuance the distinction between ancient, medieval, and modern in order to convey a holistic idea of how history is written and discussed, as also to equip you with an overall understanding of human history that goes well beyond our modern roots. The book would have allowed you a glimpse into the history of Africa, West and Central Asia, East Asia, Australia, North and South America, and Europe, including the United Kingdom. It would have familiarized you with what may be called the case study method. Instead of burdening you with enormous detail about history of all these places, we felt it would be better to examine the illustration of certain phenomena in detail. World history can be written in many ways. One of these, perhaps the oldest, is to focus on contact between peoples to stress the interconnectedness of cultures and civilizations and to explore the multifarious dimensions of world historical change. And alternative is to identify relatively self-contained, though spanning regions of economic exchange that sustain certain forms of culture and power. A third method specifies differences in the historical experience of nations and regions to highlight their distinctive characteristics. You would have found traces of each of these approaches in the book, but differences between societies and individuals go hand in hand with similarities. Interlinkages, connections, and similarities among human communities always existed. The interplay of the global and the local, the world in a grain of sand, the mainstream and the marginal, the general and the specific, which you would have gleaned from this book, are a fascinating aspect of the study of history. Or our account began from scattered settlements in Africa, Asia, and Europe. From there, we moved on to city life in Mesopotamia. Early empires were created around cities in Mesopotamia, Egypt, China, Persia, and India. Empires of greater extent followed them: the Greek, Macedonian, Roman, Arab, and from the 1200s the Mongol. Trading, operation, technology, and government were often highly intricate in these empires. Very often they were based on effective use of a written language. A new era in human history took shape as a consequence of a combination of technological and organizational changes that occurred in Western Europe in the middle of the second millennium CE. From the 1400s onward, these were linked to the Renaissance or rebirth of civilization, whose primary impact was felt in the cities of northern Italy, but whose influence spread quickly over Europe. This Renaissance was a product of the region's city life and of extensive interactions with Byzantium and the Muslim world of the Mediterranean. Over time, ideas and discoveries were carried to the Americas by explorers and conquerors in the 16th century CE. Some of these notions were carried later to Japan, India, and elsewhere as well. European preeminence in global trade, politics, and culture did not come at this time. It was to be feature of the 18th and 19th centuries when the Industrial Revolution took place in Britain and spread to Europe. Britain, France, and Germany were able to create systems of colonial control over parts of Africa and Asia, systems more intense and powerful than those of earlier empires. By the mid-20th century, that technology, economic life, and culture that had once made European states powerful and had been reworked in the rest of the world to create the foundation of modern life. You must have noticed passages quoted in the various chapters of the book. Many of these are extract for what historians call primary sources. Scholars construct history from such materials, drawing their facts from them. They critically evaluate these materials and are attentive to their ambiguities. Different historians may use a given source material to advance vastly different, even contradictory argument about historical phenomena. As with the other human sciences, history can be made to speak to us in varied voices. This is because of the intricate relationship between the historian's reasoning and historical fact. In your final year at school, you will be studying aspects of Indian or South Asian history from Harappan times to the making of modern India's constitution. Again, the emphasis will be on a judicious mix of political economy, social and cultural history, inviting you to engage with chosen themes through the case study method. We hope these books will help you formulate your own answer to so many questions, above all to the question, why study history? Did you know the gifted medievalist Mark Bloch began his book, The Historian's Craft, written in the trench during the Second World War, by recalling a young boy's question, tell me, Daddy, what is the use of history? Suggested reading Theme 1, Theme 2, Theme 3, Theme 4, Theme 5, Theme 6, Theme 7, Theme 8, Theme 9, Theme 10, Theme 11,